Good afternoon and welcome to the Open Systems Media Embedded Tutorial, Cloud-Enabled Product Development. This embedded tutorial is sponsored by Arrow. My name is Rich Nass and I will be your moderator for this event. I am also the Executive Vice President of Open Systems Media and leader of the embedded IoT teams for embedded computing design. On this embedded tutorial, you will learn about the challenges you may encounter when designing edge-based products. But more importantly, you'll hear about the solutions for those challenges. You'll be hearing from two experts today. First, you'll hear from Roland Ducote. He is a program director for Arrow Intelligent Solutions. And then you'll hear from Scott Chmiel, a business development manager for Edge to Cloud, also from Arrow Intelligent Solutions. So without any further ado, here is Roland.
So I'll kick it off, Rich, from an event. I really appreciate you having us here. The ability to work from edge to cloud, I think, is on the minds of a lot of the embedded engineers that we work with, along with the business organizations as they're trying to develop new products. So we put together a program that's led by Scott, and he'll get into a little bit more detail. So when we look at, just to level set, when we look at the impact of cloud-enabled products, we see four main areas. So when an organization or product management company or product management organizations asking our engineers to connect something to the cloud, it's really about improving customer engagement on the one, but also there's elements that we see around improved operation, which I think are critical as organizations are going through some type of digital transformation. Third, you see product functionality. I think from an engineering perspective, we've seen the ability to go out and do firmware over the air updates, or the ability to understand why devices may be failing or issues that are arising. So product functionality can also be a part of a cloud-enabled product. And finally, business models. We've seen this over the past, I would say, decade or so, when we look at SaaS models or subscription models, where hardware and software are elements of the solution. What I want to go into next are some of the challenges we see, and really we think this might be a way to relate to the audience. So Scott, if you don't mind advancing the slide. Thanks. So when we look at top challenges, and you think about enhanced customer engagement, you think about improved operations, new business models, or product functionality, there's a skills gap. A lot of the organizations that we work with are traditional embedded designers or traditional embedded organizations, and as Scott and I have gone through some certifications for cloud vendors, it's a different vocabulary, it's a different skill set, and so understanding and identifying those skill gaps are really important. I think there's things that continue in business where you've got access to capital, issues around access to capital. Obviously, we want to adhere to all local and international regulations and policies. What I think is relatively new, in addition to identifying skill gaps, are security and privacy compliance issues. Those are ongoing, and it feels like they change at a fairly rapid pace. But a fifth area that the audience might relate to is risk management, and so the ability to manage risk along with access to capital, privacy, security policies, and skill gaps. I mean, there's a list here that's fairly significant around challenges for cloud-based product development. But we feel like there's a way forward, and I think when we look at organizations that have been successful in digital transformation projects, successful in cloud-enabled products or projects, there's a few characteristics to look for as they go out and partner. So a scenario would be you as an organization are looking to develop a cloud-enabled project or product. You have identified a skill gap or an issue around privacy or security, and you realize that it's not something that we can do internally. And so how do you identify a partner that can really help you? And that's what you see on the screen. I think these are the best practices that we see. Obviously, I think Arrow fits really well into all of these, but making sure that the organization has a global footprint. So again, if you've got a skills gap, you need support in a specific region, you need to have a global partner to really help support you. Further, and we've run into this a lot over the past few weeks, is really around domain expertise. So if you're in a very specific industry and working in a specific application, making sure that you're working with a partner that has that domain expertise saves a lot of time, energy, and ultimately develops a more, well, I would say a better customer experience. So I'll stop there. I'll let the audience take a look at the slide. I'm sorry, this slide, as well as the characteristics for partner capabilities. But with that, I'd love to transition over to Scott.
Thanks, Roland. I appreciate your time and great information. With the work that people have traditionally supported through Arrow or are familiar with Arrow, you know that Arrow's been on the edge for a number of years, supplying you those parts, those components, those solutions and services. What Arrow is trying to do is expand that and look at your overall solution end to end, from the edge all the way to your cloud, your service, your solution, your product, your offering. And with that in mind, Arrow created a new program called the CloudEdge program. The intent here is to leverage the existing items that you know from Arrow, accelerate the development and deployment of cloud connected devices for your customers. That's the key thing, is the core what Arrow does, but expanding it to the end solution and bringing the value through the whole stream of your opportunity and solution. The Arrow Cloud program is developed to accelerate the development and deployment of cloud connected solutions for our customers. The program offers a comprehensive list of solutions that include hardware, cloud, and software. Cloud expertise, we're bringing some cloud expertise to the table to offer cloud-based solutions and services. These include design services, migration from one platform to the other, cost analysis, etc. The kind of things you need for value. It's intended to help you operationally support the ecosystem at scale with financial services, planning from the very beginning, not just what you're trying to do for pilot or prototype, but where you're going to be in the long run. Are you scaling? Are you building the foundation to construct your overall solution on? The CloudEdge program is broken into 4 different areas. We've got connected devices, cloud, data, and management. For connected devices, we're looking at the edge to cloud architect, as well as successful integration of key components of hardware, software, and cloud, as well as the types of engineering design services you might need to leverage. At the same time, making sure that we're able to simplify your hardware design and understand the supply chain to be sure it's available for sourcing. In the times we're living in today, making sure you identify hardware at the edge that you can be available when you're ready to deploy, and over the life of your product, so you don't have to come back and revisit it over and over again, is very important. On the cloud side, migration services and cloud readiness. You might need an assessment or professional services you can leverage where you have key knowledge or core competencies in-house, but you need to leverage additional core competencies. Bring in partners or services to help build out that solution, or to assess your solution. Is it secure? Is it safe? All those things before you deploy, you might require or want third parties to look at to make sure you get those appropriate certifications that you can share with your customers. From a data service side, Arrow's working hard to recruit partners that can support these different areas. Everything from Azure cloud storage and services to artificial intelligence, machine learning, business intelligence, and data analytics. We integrate these services that AIS knows in terms of life cycle and remote management, support, manufacturing, repair, warranties. And let's not forget the financial modeling and financial requirements you might require to support this, manufacturing and global fulfillment for your edge devices or your solution, and making the CloudEdge program work and bring value as all these solutions end to end. What are the challenges the CloudEdge program is seeking to solve? It's looking from the beginning at concept and development feasibility, trusted services we're building on top of Azure, cloud, the resource and architect driving forward. It's the assessment. It's the beginning of that conversation. Where do you want to get in the long run? It's very important to understand your go-to-market solutions, how you're planning to go to market, your business model, and understand and analyze how we're going to get there. Because there's no point starting unless you really understand where you want to get and you can get within the parameters you've laid out. System level integration and implementation is very important as well. We're talking edge devices, edge solutions connected to cloud, ingesting data or controlling something. It's important to have it understand and be able to look at a broad device platform choice, making sure you select the right one with features, IO, capabilities, lifecycle. And of course, the domain expertise. We want to make sure that you're looking at in your specific vertical, you're bringing your knowledge, your solution, your IP to the solution. We want to make sure everything complements that and feeds to it and doesn't draw away from it. The second aspect is looking at for scale and market development. We know it's the most important is when you build the solution, you need to be looking at how you're going to go to market. What are those motions? How are you going to support that from the logistics side of product integration and manufacturing, the financing if you need a CapEx or OpEx type model conversion, installation. Sometimes you need to get these products installed or site surveys to know how many devices, assess it. And of course, you need a partner or a solution that can go out and get that global reach. You might be starting in a limited geographical area, but over time, you might want to be able to scale out. It's important to have a partner and a solution where you're looking at the future. And of course, we're extending the reach. Arrow has numerous programs to look at how you extend the reach to the channel, the supply chain. As you're starting off, you're going to be looking at how you can multiply or accelerate the deployment. The more success and access to the channel you have, the more successful you can be. Marketing support, you can look at Arrow to say how can you leverage that marketing support, whether it's white papers, joint press releases, additional feeding into the market, whether it's through leveraging Microsoft to get it out to the field or getting it to additional sales organizations. And of course, bundling offering with complementary suppliers. Sometimes your solution might be a part of a solution overall a customer needs. How do we offer that complete solution and complement it? If you can't, if you are just a part of a solution, we have other solutions we can look at and bundling it together. When you look at the benefits of Chrome, there's a few areas to consider. You have OEMs, ISVs, and system integrators who are already developing connected products or services in manufacturing, industrial, retail, healthcare, the number of verticals go on. These OEMs and ISVs and SIs are generally in some type of digital transformation product and leverage our services and support already. I'm going to give a quick example of a customer. I'm not going to say the customer's name in this case, but the customer had the challenge of incorporating cloud into the solution with limited business and technical resources. I categorize them as a small, medium business. They were starting to do the cloud transformation. They had hardware on devices already, and they wanted to extend that to more cloud services. So in this case is an industrial IoT customer monitoring industrial monitoring solution. The benefits they saw with the Arrow and the CloudEdge program was planning to scale. They could see how they could get to more customers and leverage Arrow to get to more customers and scale their solutions. That included bringing the right hardware, the right cloud Azure environment to adopt. And we help guide them through the support services and ongoing management of the device. Supply chain services are very important to them. Once again, if you have a customer and you have a solution, but you can't get the devices that need to go for monitoring the hardware, the solution wasn't going anywhere. So in this particular case, the customer has been able to scale and bring out to more customer solutions and is looking at rapid acceleration of deployment through the different programs we're able to connect them up with. So when you're ready to get started with the CloudEdge program, ideally we're looking at customers who are based in the United States or Europe or Canada. just from the standpoint that's where our major presence is, and that's where we're focusing. Ideally, organizations have identified a project with an intent to deploy within the next 12 months approximately. We're not holding that firm, but we know these projects take time, but we want something identified. These organizations are ideally looking for some kind of consumption from the cloud, but it's not say $5,000 a month, but it's not a hard requirement. At a high level, we're looking for a stakeholder or executive sponsor for the program. The important part for that is we want to make sure there's buy-in throughout the organization, and there's the thought of moving forward and the commitment to move forward. Ideal candidate does have hardware content in it, as it is a CloudEdge. Edge infers that there is some kind of device connected and ingesting. That's significant value buy from Arrow through our legacy offerings. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. If you need a contact or reach out to us, the contact information is on the screen. Roland or myself would be happy to talk to you and dive into more detail.